What if the smartest way to break your enemy was to never touch them at all? Not a word, not a punch, not even a raised voice, just silence and destruction that unfolds like destiny. This isn't a video about revenge. It's a masterclass in psychological warfare, the kind that Machiavelli himself would have whispered behind closed doors while empires fell. By the end of this, you'll understand how to break someone so completely they won't even realize you were the one who pulled the strings. Until it's too late. Imagine this. Someone betrays you, mocks you, tries to humiliate you publicly, and instead of lashing out, you watch them implode from their own flaws. You don't fight for control. You make them give it to you willingly. Most people react. Most people lose. But you're not most people. And here's the kicker. Every second you keep watching, you're learning tactics that most never see coming. Every second you stay, you're gaining an edge they'll never recover from. Because the real battlefield isn't out there, it's in the mind. And once you master this game, no enemy, no insult, no betrayal will ever shake you again. You want dominance? It starts now. Let's begin. It begins with pain. Someone mocks you, undermines you, betrays you, and in that moment, every nerve in your body demands retaliation. Your pride wants war. Your ego wants to strike. You imagine shouting, exposing them, destroying them openly for the world to see. That urge, intense, hot, and immediate, feels like strength, but it's not. That is the illusion of power. Because the moment you react, you are no longer in control. You are dancing to their rhythm. Your enemy wanted attention. They got it. They wanted your energy. They took it. And worst of all, they wanted to see your mask slip, and you handed it to them willingly. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. In the courts of Florence, where betrayal wore silk gloves and power whispered from behind closed doors, he learned that force is never the first move of the truly powerful. The strongest hand is not the one that strikes first. It's the one that never flinches, the one that lets the enemy swing and miss again and again until they tire themselves into collapse. You're not like most people. Most people confuse reaction with power. They think emotion is dominance, but reaction is slavery to anger, to ego, to enemy. It shows your hand. It exposes your fear. It confirms their strategy worked. But you're here because you want more than revenge. You want control, precision, mastery. Machiavellian mastery does not scream. It does not rage. It smiles. It studies. And when the time comes, it strikes once, and only once, to end the game entirely. So ask yourself this: is your goal to feel powerful or to be powerful? Because the one who feels powerful may win the crowd for a day, but the one who is powerful owns the board in silence, long after the noise fades. This is where strategy begins, not with action, but with restraint. Step 1, never react, always observe. The battlefield is not always made of blood and blades. Sometimes it is made of glances, silences, and restraint. And in that battlefield, the first to speak often loses. When your enemy strikes through insult, betrayal, or humiliation, the most dangerous thing you can do is react. Machiavelli knew this well. In his world, one wrong reaction could cost you your crown or your head. He saw that the man who controls his emotion controls the field, because emotion clouds vision. It exposes weakness. It turns kings into fools and soldiers into pawns. But the man who watches, that man becomes unpredictable. Picture this. Your enemy hurls accusations expecting fury. He wants your voice to rise. He wants the crack in your mask. But you give him nothing. No words, no flinch, just eyes, cold, still, watching. And suddenly he is the one exposed. His voice echoes into a void. His performance falls flat, because the power he hoped to extract from your pain never arrived. This is the first rule of true strategy. You do not give your enemy the satisfaction of your reaction. Most people live like open books. They bleed at every page. Their expressions betray them. Their rage enslaves them. They hand the steering wheel of their fate to anyone who knows which buttons to push. But you must not live like most people. You are not the victim. You are the observer, the analyst, the patient watching hand that learns every flaw, every twitch, every desperation in your opponent. Your silence is not weakness, it is confusion. It is fear in the heart of the one who attacked you. He swung expecting resistance, but he hit air, and now he wonders, did I miss? Or is he planning something greater? Let them fear the stillness. Let them unravel in the void you create. While they burn with emotion, you sharpen your blade with observation. This is not just self-control, it is psychological warfare. It is your first step toward total dominance. Step 2. Understand their weaknesses. Every man who stands against you carries within him the seeds of his own collapse. The question is not if he will fall, but how. Your task is to find the crack in his armor, not with force, not with fury, but with silence and study. Machiavelli understood that no enemy is invincible. Even the proudest general, the loudest critic, the most powerful rival, each is driven by a flaw: pride, greed, insecurity, a need for recognition, a thirst for validation, an addiction to control. But most never see these flaws because they're too busy reacting, too eager to attack, too obsessed with being seen fighting rather than winning silently. You must be different. You are not the fighter in the pit. You are the man in the shadows, watching the beast, learning its patterns, waiting for the exact moment it stumbles. So observe, not with judgment, but with calculation. Watch what rattles them. Do they become defensive when ignored? Do they chase compliments like scraps? Do they speak of loyalty but act out of desperation? Do they overplay their strength because they fear being irrelevant? Each reaction is a clue, each outburst, a confession. Your enemy is no longer your attacker. He is your specimen. He speaks and you decode. He moves and you measure. He boasts and you hear desperation echoing beneath the surface. This is the shift, where you no longer feel attacked by your enemy. You begin to feel superior to him, not out of ego, but because you've stepped into the higher game. Because once you see his flaw clearly, you will know exactly how to use it. This is the part of the game your enemy never expects. He believes the battle is out loud, in front of eyes, in the open, but you've already entered his mind, and in that space you are untouchable. The hunter does not fight the deer. He studies its path, learns its habits, waits for the weakness. Understand your enemy's flaw and you will never need to force his fall. He will walk straight into it. Step 3. Feed their flaws. Once you've identified your enemy's weakness, the instinct is to strike. But you're not here to play with instincts. You're here to play with results. Machiavellian power doesn't rush. It doesn't expose itself in swift attacks. Instead, it nurtures the flaw. It waters it like a garden, slowly, invisibly, until it grows so wild it consumes the man who carries it. The greedy, offer them more. The proud, shower them with praise. The insecure, give them attention but only enough to keep them needing more. The controlling, hand them the illusion of dominance and let them tighten the noose around their own neck. This is not cruelty. This is strategy. You don't poison them. You let them drink from the cup. Take the tale of Lucius Sergius Catiline, an ambitious Roman noble. He wanted power more than anything. Rome feared his thirst, and Cicero, instead of confronting him with force, fed the fire. He allowed Catiline to boast, to gather allies, to speak louder, until Catiline believed himself untouchable. And then, when he had climbed too high, Cicero pulled the ground from beneath him. The Senate turned. His support crumbled, and Catiline fled in disgrace, hunted by the very people he once commanded, not because Cicero attacked, but because Cicero waited, listened, fed the pride, and let it explode. This is your task. Don't argue with the proud man. Let him keep talking. Encourage him to speak more, louder, more arrogantly. In his quest to be admired, he will expose his weakness. Don't block the greedy man. Offer him bait. Make it tempting. Let him lunge for it. And as he reaches too far, his own ambition will tear him down. The insecure man? Compliment him in public, then withhold it in private. Let him chase your approval. Let him degrade himself trying to win back what was never promised. And while he flails, you remain still. This is where moral detachment becomes necessary. You are not here to be fair. You are here to be victorious. And the most satisfying victories are not won through confrontation, but through collapse. Collapse they cause themselves. Let your enemy speak. Let him rise. Let him shine under the spotlight he craves. Because the higher he climbs on his flaw, the harder the fall when the flaw turns inward. You are not feeding him. You are feeding the fire beneath his feet. Step 4. Erode their alliances. A strong enemy is never strong alone. His power is borrowed from those who stand behind him, speak for him, defend him when he stumbles. His strength is not his own, it is shared, and shared power can be taken, piece by piece. Machiavelli knew this, that a man's true weakness is not always in himself, but in the people he depends on. So do not strike your enemy directly. Strike the ground beneath his feet. That ground is trust. That ground is loyalty. That ground is alliance. And here's the secret. You don't break alliances with force. You break them with suggestion. A whisper in the right ear. A pause before praise. A raised eyebrow. A better offer. That's all it takes to plant doubt. Let his allies wonder, is he slipping? Let them question, is he really as strong as he claims? Let them consider, would I be safer, richer, more powerful if I stood elsewhere? People don't need to be pushed. They just need to feel a shift in the wind. Offer his supporters quiet alternatives. Give them subtle reasons to leave, not commands, not threats, just space. Space to doubt, space to desire, space to drift. Make his confidence look like arrogance. Make his decisions look erratic. Let his own behavior become the argument against him. And when he looks around expecting to find loyal eyes, he will find no one. This is how you break a man, not with war, but with isolation. And the beauty of it? He won't even see you. You are invisible. You're not the storm. You're the subtle pressure that made the roof leak. The unseen force that turned friends into strangers, turned allies into ghosts. No accusations, no attacks, just emptiness. Because when a man loses his circle, his shield, his echo chamber, he begins to unravel. Not because he was struck, but because he stood alone. Let his voice go unanswered. Let his orders fall flat. Let his supporters quietly step away one by one until the silence itself becomes the loudest betrayal. And when he falls, it won't be you who pushed him. It will be the absence of hands to hold him up. Step 5. Let them self-destruct. A man ruled by his flaws is a flame in dry grass, bright, loud, and destined to burn himself out. And the wisest move? You don't blow on the fire. You simply step back and watch it consume everything it touches. Once your enemy is isolated, once his flaws are fed and his allies drift away, he becomes volatile. And volatility is not strength. It's the prelude to collapse. The insecure man abandoned will scream louder. The proud man doubted will overcompensate. The greedy man denied will gamble everything. They will swing wildly, not because you push them, but because they cannot help themselves. And you remain silent, unshaken, absent but never uninvolved. This is the seduction of silence. Your absence is not peace, it is pressure. Your stillness is not retreat, it is restraint. You are not fighting them, you are letting them fight their own reflection. The crowd will see it, the chaos, the contradictions, the unraveling, and slowly your enemy will stop looking like a rival and start looking like a fool, like a man yelling into an empty room, like a king with no court, like a flame that, in its hunger for light, eats itself whole. There is a cold satisfaction in this kind of control, not from revenge, but from precision, from knowing you did not need to attack. You simply created the conditions for collapse, and your enemy walked into them willingly. This is where most fail. They interfere. They try to speed the downfall. They expose themselves by delivering the final blow. But the Machiavellian mind does not interrupt the process of self-destruction. It respects the art of patience. Because when a man destroys himself, you never get blamed. He becomes the author of his own tragedy. And you remain the ghost in the background, untouched, unassociated, yet undeniably in control. So let them rant, let them reach, let them overstep. You gave them rope. Let them hang their own legacy with it. Remember, the most powerful blow is the one they swing at themselves while the world watches. Step 6. Rise publicly, strike privately. While your enemy spirals in noise and desperation, you must ascend in silence. Let the world see one thing: your growth. Let them witness your composure, your rising influence, your quiet power. And let your enemy vanish, no longer attacked, just outshined. Machiavelli taught that power is not only what you control, it's what others believe you control. So never waste time proving yourself to those beneath you. Instead, build a presence so undeniable that their attacks feel like whispers against a storm. Win loyalty, not through aggression, but through elevation. Let others choose you, admire you, align with you, not because you demanded it, but because you made their alliance feel like a privilege. This is the psychology of status envy. While your enemy begs for relevance, you become the standard. They fight for attention, you attract it. And the irony? They will try to drag you into their chaos. They want a public battle, a spectacle, a scene, but you deny them the stage. You strike privately, strategically, in ways they cannot trace. And in doing so, you rob them of what they crave most: significance. Your restraint becomes your reputation, your silence a sign of strength, your progress a punishment in itself. Others see this, they feel it, and slowly they begin to shift, not toward the loud, but toward the lasting. Because no one follows the man who crumbles, they follow the one who rises without needing to explain himself. So let your name grow while theirs fades. Let your image rise while theirs deteriorates in the fog of their own outbursts. And when the moment comes to deliver the final cut, do it quietly, in the dark, where they never saw it coming. Step 7. The final move. Erase them. Destruction doesn't always come with fire and fury. Sometimes it arrives in silence. Not with a scream, but with a fade. Not with a fall, but with a vanishing. This is the final move, not to defeat your enemy, but to erase them. The proud man fears humiliation. The greedy man fears exposure. But every man, no matter how powerful, fears being forgotten. And that is your ultimate weapon. You don't shout their name. You don't curse them. You don't grant them the dignity of being your rival. Instead, you rise. You ascend. You command space so completely the memory of their presence becomes a shadow swallowed by your light. And what's left of them? A rumor, a mistake, a name spoken in hushed tones, if it's spoken at all. Machiavelli understood that true power isn't measured by who you destroy, but by how little destruction costs you. When your enemy fades without you lifting a hand, you prove that their relevance was an illusion, and that your dominance was never a contest. Erasure is not revenge, it is replacement. You don't step over their legacy, you become the legacy. Let others speak your name, not as the man who fought, but as the one who rose so high that no enemy could reach him. This is ascension versus erasure. Their noise dies in echoes. Your silence is carved into stone. They chased attention. You command memory, and memory is immortality. So let them scream, let them spiral, let them cast stones from the shadows. You don't look back, because when your name stands alone, unchallenged, untarnished, unbothered, they do not exist. And that is the cruelest victory of all. The Machiavellian legacy power, true power, is never seized in chaos. It is cultivated in silence, sharpened through patience, and executed with precision. Force may win battles, but precision wins history. Machiavelli did not write for the loud. He wrote for the calculating, not for the impulsive, but for the strategic. For those who understand that to rule the future, you must master yourself before you master others. This is the path you've been walking. Step by step, deeper into a different mindset. You are no longer the man who reacts. You are the one who waits, the one who watches, the one who moves unseen until the exact moment when everything falls into place. And when it does, it looks effortless, because that is the Machiavellian way. Not to fight for power, but to become so composed, so calculated, so untouchable. That power bends in your direction by design. This is more than revenge. More than strategy, it's legacy, because long after your enemies have vanished, dissolved by their own flaws, forgotten by the world, you will still be standing. You won't be remembered for who you fought. You'll be remembered for what you built, calmly, ruthlessly, quietly. So ask yourself once more, do you want to strike back, or do you want to become untouchable? One satisfies your anger, the other defines your legend. The world belongs to the ones who think 3 steps ahead, who never show their hand, who rise while others stumble, speak less while others scream, and build empires not in battle but in silence. This is the Machiavellian legacy, and now it's yours. If this resonated with you, then you already think differently. You're not chasing noise, you're building power, so subscribe now and join a circle that plays the long game. No rage, no noise, just pure strategy, and remember, the greatest victories are silent. Make your next one inevitable. Right now, there are 2 videos on your screen, handpicked just for you. Click to watch them. I'm sure you'll love every second.